Hey, Amber.
They saw my tum-tum!
The moon landing didn't happen.
Are you actually gonna wear that?
Okay, fine. You're the queen of lolcows. Well done, you.
Did she spray Pam on the food?
That ass, though.
You're lolcows. That's what you guys do.
I'm not a bad person. I consider myself to be kind, understanding, generous, friendly, caring.
Hey folks, what's good? I'm Professor Dietz, and today I have some Gorl World lore for you. Today, we'll be discussing the letter that Amberlynn Reid wrote to Krystle just before Krystle broke up with her. It was quite the manipulative move on Amber's part. And as I personally wrap up several months of my own life watching every single Krystle Era video currently available on Amber's channel, I thought it would be a good way for me to kind of leave the era behind-ish, finalize my opinions, I guess, on the time period, and move on to the next. With that in mind, we're also going to take a quick look at the bigger picture. You know, what was happening around the same time as the letter, so that we get a better understanding of the context for it. Because, just like everything else with Amber, you can't take anything she says or does at face value.
I have been lying to you all.
And while we have reviewed a good amount of footage in the Gorl Games and in a couple of recent retro reacts, there definitely are a few things we have left to discuss.
Me vlogging only shows so much of my life, and it definitely shows that I can show you what I want to show you, but I can definitely not show you what I don't want to show you.
So, let's dig into the Krystle Era for one of the last times, at least for now. It was just under 2 months before Krystle ended things. Amber wrote the letter on the evening of February 4th, and then posted it to her YouTube channel the next day. You know, she didn't read the letter itself on camera, but instead she just kind of introduced it with a bit of a monologue, I guess you could call it. And then she added a link to the letter in the description of that video. That is a link that still exists at time of filming. But before we read the letter itself, let's first listen to what Amberlynn had to say about it.
I am at a really, really vulnerable state right now. I have been lying to you all.
Amberlynn admitting to lying.
I really, really am not a liar. It's not who I am. I'm the type of girl who is coated with misery. I'll hide it, for so-and-so time, but eventually it just has to show. I have an eating disorder. I cried so much last night. I have been feeling guilty, horrible. This isn't what I wanted. This is not what I wanted for me. I wrote Krystle a letter last night because I feel like I can express myself 110% so much more via writing than I can with my words. January 1st, 2015, I was so headstrong on succeeding in my weight loss this year. I thought January 1st, 2015 would be a magical day. A date on the calendar is not going to change my eating disorder. It is not magical. I don't talk much about my weight loss or my weight gain or my weight struggles. Behind closed doors, I am trying my hardest to heal privately. I really do feel like it's time, though, for me to be honest with you guys. I have not been on track. I have been eating at night. I wake up and I think, okay, today's gonna be different. It's not. It never is. I have been so ultimately terrified to weigh myself. My binge would become a reality. I stepped on the scale. I weighed 384.8. That is 0.2 lower than I weighed a month ago. To you guys, I have gained around 11 pounds. I was watching my 600-pound life last night, which is honestly one of my favorite shows in the whole world. A girl named Amber was on there. It was a hard episode to watch. I literally felt like that could be me in a couple years. I saw myself. She didn't just have my name, but she had my struggles. We shared so many similarities that my heart was literally breaking the whole time watching it. I don't want to become 600 pounds. I don't even want to be 384 pounds. Writing that letter to Krystle, it was such a healing thing for me. I shared the letter with my aunt, and now I just feel like I need to share it with you guys. I'm not a bad person. I consider myself to be kind, understanding, generous, friendly, caring. But there comes a time when all of that just kind of vanishes, and me vlogging only shows so much of my life, and it definitely shows that I can show you what I want to show you, but I can definitely not show you what I don't want to show you. I took out so many major parts of my life. I did not talk about any of this. It was something I've been dealing with desperately and wholeheartedly. I've been just dig deep within myself. I really don't know if that makes me selfish, makes me a liar, but I just don't want any of you to be upset with me. I could see why you would be. I'm going through a lot. Thank you guys so much for listening. The letter will be down underneath my links, and you guys can read it all word for word, and I really hope that you just appreciate my honesty.
The words that come out of Amberlynn's mouth are calculated, but the way that she acts, especially during the Krystle era, is what really gives her away. So while Amby was saying these words to set up her letter, let's take a look at some of the scenes from her vlogs around the same time period. As you probably already guessed, things weren't going all that well in their relationship.
Hi, Krystle. Say something. Just say hi.
Hi.
Say bye.
Whoa! Almost crashed for the 20th time today.
I'll edit it out. I'll edit it out. Walk by.
Krystle was, of course, making clicking noises in the background.
If you guys are wondering what that clicking noise was, Krystle's legit playing Rock Band like she owns the place.
But honestly, you would hear her less and less these days. And when we did, we were definitely getting more attitude from her.
Are you filming?
No.
Oh, why?
She was shooting looks at Amber, talking back, and sometimes she was being intentionally annoying while Amberlynn was filming.
What? Why do you always do stuff? Wrong timing, girl. Wrong timing, girl. So. Oh my god. I won't put it.
And I don't know, I love that for her. When they did spend time together, they spent their days either staying at home, playing board games, or, going out shopping and eating.
Today, Krystle and I went to Red Lobster. Not the best choice. I ate everything you could think of.
But there was, I don't know, this extra sense of distance between them. There were sometimes long amounts of time where it was clear that Krystle wasn't even around.
Today has been a crazy day in the sense of I've been busy just spending it with Krystle's parents.
But Amberlynn, I don't know, she just wasn't acknowledging that fact. It was almost like she hoped no one would notice if she didn't point it out, I guess.
I feel really bad that I didn't film much today. It's going on almost 7 o'clock, so.
There were just more scenes of Amber doing super boring things alone, rather than mostly boring things with Krystle. Looking at dog treats and Snapple bottles. Talking about weather apps.
It said that it's supposed to snow like 6 different times, and they were like super hardcore about it. They're like, it's gonna snow. Take off of work.
Feeding the pets on paper plates. It was all just eerily silent without the clicking noises.
Yum.
I just want you to know that I love you so, so much.
Everything was just more depressing, I guess.
You know, sometimes in life you literally don't do anything, and that's just how it was today.
And Amber, she just wasn't putting any effort into her self-care, her hygiene, or even her outfits.
I'm not really about that let's get ready life today. I'm very like casual. I just don't care. I'm not wearing makeup.
You know, whether I think her style was great or not is completely beside the point. For most of the Krystle era, she had at least been, putting in some effort into her clothing and her jewelry.
There's my outfit.
So opinions aside, Amberlynn, she just wasn't putting in the effort lately.
Just a old black sweater with some lint. Like literally just, I don't have my shoes on yet. I'm just not in it.
And then Amberlynn got sick.
Great, everybody. I just now woke up. I'll probably go back to sleep for a little longer. I'm still feeling sick.
And my theory, this was exactly the excuse that Krystle needed to fully pull away from Amber.
It's been really sad for me because for the last, I want to say like 4 nights, I wake up and Krystle's not by my side. No Krystle.
Now, like literally, physically, in addition to the mental distance that she'd already been creating. I don't think that their relationship ever recovered from this.
She's been sleeping in the game room. When I wake up, she's gone.
Amber had lost her grip on Krystle and she panicked. Sure, Amberlynn tried some other forms of manipulation to get Krystle back. She started doing her chores more, with a very forced smile on her face. She love-bombed Krystle with gifts, paid for by Krystle's parents, of course. But those tactics, they weren't working, and so Amberlynn pulled out the big guns, the guilt trip. This letter wasn't just a bunch of false promises. It was a way to reinforce Amber's victim status, provide false hope for a future that Krystle had lost interest in, and to guilt her into loving Amber again. Of course, we all know it didn't work, but now I do believe it's time to read that letter.
This reading is what? Fundamental!
All right. Before we read the letter, let's find calm and peace, because you know it's going to make us angry, and have a look at the Corgi Cam and see how Mini Waffles is doing. Hi, you being a good girl over there, Minnie? You want a treat? Oh, you're very cute. Oh, that was a very bad throw. I'm sorry. Up on your bed. Go on. Good girl. Try again. Nice. All right. Man, I gotta get better at throwing those treats. All right. Let's read this letter and try to remain zen as we do. Dear Krystle, hi baby. So, while you are over there looking cute while you're watching YouTube, I'm over here feeling insanely stressed, triggered, overwhelmed, confused, lost, and scared. Okay, so we are, excluding the very first hi baby, whatever. In the very first sentence, Amberlynn has managed to set up this entire thing so that you can't really be angry with her, right? Because while she's not yet the victim, she is sad, right? She's triggered, she's stressed, she's overwhelmed, she's confused, lost, scared. It's a lot of emotions for one sentence. If you were to be angry, you should feel guilty about that because she's just a lost and scared little puppy at this point, and you need to feel sorry for her. And now that is how she set up this entire letter. So, next sentence. Oh my gosh, I do not expect you to understand, but I do expect you to listen, accept, and be gentle with me when it comes to these feelings, emotions, decisions, and thoughts. I need someone there for me, and I want and I need that someone to be you. Not only is she condescending, right? You couldn't possibly understand my emotions. Krystle has to listen and accept and be gentle with her. So not only is she controlling the way Krystle is supposed to feel and react to this letter, but she is now saying that it has to be Krystle. I mean, we are 2 sentences in here, people. And she has managed to throw a guilt trip, make you feel sorry for her, be condescending, and also be controlling. I cannot with this letter. It's so manipulative. All right, next sentence. It is truly hard for me right now to even wrap my mind around the right kind of words to convey what I truly want to say to you. We both know that we have let ourselves go pretty badly yet again. So now not only is this letter about Amberlynn, but she is roping Krystle into it too. She is now saying that Krystle has let herself go. And I don't care whether or not Krystle's gained weight. This is supposed to be about Amberlynn, and yet now she's roping Krystle into it. I only know this by the way you talk to me about how you feel fat, when in reality, I think you look amazingly beautiful and always will. Right? Okay, so now she's saying you shouldn't feel bad about the way that you've let yourself go. Just think about me for a moment here. Speaking for myself, I feel like utter shit. I might smile on the outside, but on the inside, all I can think about is if I ate too much or too little the last meal, or if now I weigh my heaviest weight overall, or if I will have to buy a bunch of bigger clothes eventually because the ones I wear now no longer look good on me, and the ones I want to wear don't even fit me at all. She's really in a bad place, and she is reinforcing it over and over and over again for Krystle because Krystle is the one that needs to listen and needs to be supportive and needs to be gentle. I constantly fear that I'm going to have health defects because of how big I'm allowing myself to be, which is interesting. She says allowing here. You know, in just a moment, she is going to turn that around and say that it's actually not her fault. So the fact that she says allowing here, to me, it's almost like a slip. Like she kind of forgot that she was the victim in this moment and actually admitted the truth. So whoops, Amber, you said the real thing here by accident. And you know, what's also interesting about this is that this is exactly what's happened 10 years later. She does have a lot of health problems because she never took control of her life and she never made the changes that she's talking about wanting to make in this letter. She knows she should be making them. She knew back then that she needed to make changes, but she decided not to. Or my heart just flat out hurts and breaks because I feel like I will never lose true weight ever again. And most of all, I'm just not happy. Her trend has been upwards for the most part for the next 10 years. She did, during the Beck era, lose a good amount of weight, but then she regained it all again. It sucks. It sucks so bad to have this eating disorder. So many people look away from me and think I'm fat because I'm lazy, which I never said I wasn't, but honestly, deep down, I'm fat because food has somehow made me its prisoner, and I have been in prison my whole life. Okay, so now the victimhood begins, right? She did say she was allowing herself to be this big, but now she's going to turn it around and she's going to say it's not her fault. And look, I'm not here to say she doesn't have this relationship with food, okay? I'm not going to deny her that because that's quite obvious. What I do get angry about is the fact that she knows it's an issue. She's aware of it, but she doesn't get help. She doesn't get the help that she needs. And that's the point where I no longer feel bad for her. Okay, we're back to we again. We go back and forth so much between eat healthy, eat whatever, just count calories, eat healthier, but it's okay to eat this or that. Count calories strictly. Don't count calories. Too much fat, too much sodium, not enough water. Stop eating processed. Okay, let's add processed, but no more of this. Let's have more of that, less carbs. This is a battle you and I are constantly struggling with. That is so manipulative. Once again, this isn't about Krystle. Stop saying we. This is supposed to be about you. But for me, speaking for myself and only myself, I stop counting calories because I'm lazy. It's overwhelming. It's time consuming. And deep down, if I'm not counting calories, I'm allowing myself to eat more than I probably should, full of foods that I probably shouldn't be touching. So within myself, besides all of the inside healing I'm trying to do, I need to stop binging and start eating less. Yeah, that's true, Amber. But that's all you should have said. You did not need to bring Krystle into this. So now you've made Krystle feel bad about herself in order to make her feel even worse about the situation that you're in. Oh, man. This is all a mind game to me. My mind is playing this game that will never shut off. One of us has to win, and I want it to be me. Is this one of those moments where she is like making it so that her mind and herself are two different entities? Because I think that's what she's going for here. But she does that all the time. You know, she doesn't have to take accountability for anything because it's not her fault when her mind does something. I need to get my life back. I know you know how much the gym means to me. So I do not need to even touch on that topic. You know we will start attending the gym again on Monday, and you know how much I appreciate your support in that matter. The gym is literally heaven to me. Not in the sense that is exaggerated. It just really does something for me that I cannot explain to anyone, let alone myself. So to me, if there was a heaven that did not include you, it would be at the gym. The gym is a major gateway to happiness and health for me. Folks, in what world is the gym heaven for Amberlynn? This family has not only given her a gym membership, but they have created a home gym for her. She has the gall to say that the gym is her heaven when she never goes and she never uses the equipment in the place that she lives. And then she brings Krystle into it again. Because without you, I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my heaven without you. So, taking all that aside, I need to shape up, baby. I need to strap on my adult gear and really dive into this weight loss lifestyle with an extreme measure. So much talk is said, but so little action is taken. I have figured out in the last couple of years that this is not my fault. I did not choose to be this way. I did not choose to wake up one day and live in a body with an extreme eating disorder that no one seems to understand. More than anything, I wish people would understand, but it will never happen, and that is something I'm accepting. There it is, everyone. So once again, people don't get her. You know, she lives in a mind that controls her, that, you know, nothing's her fault, and nobody gets it. How can Krystle ever leave her? You know what, Amber? You didn't choose to have this, relationship with food, but you choose every single day to wake up in that body because you don't get the help that you need to change. I want to heal myself in the best way that I can. This whole no calorie counting, eat whatever I want in moderation works for so many people, including someone who truly inspires me. Kim from YouTube, who has lost over 100 pounds. Seriously, that is just like actual humor. Like, it is hilarious that she brings Kim from YouTube into this letter. All right, now we're going to start with the pure guilt trip. It triggers me into a state of desperation, but only because I am a binger. I cry so much on the inside, Krystle. So much that I ache from it all. So much that as I type these words, I am crying on the outside, and you don't even notice. Holy shit, Amber. You're not just pouring on the guilt in one way, but now you're saying that Krystle doesn't even see the fact that she's upset. Now she's supposed to feel even worse. That really is how I feel. It sums it up perfectly. I am screaming so hard on the inside and outside, but no one hears me. Whether it be because they choose not to, or because it really is something they can hear. But no matter the reason, my scream is strong and it wants to be catched, hugged, soothed, and healed. This journey is more than just a journey to me. To others, it is just about losing weight so easily, but for me, it is like a dove trying to pull a mansion with its wings. Here we go with the poetry. Where's the pigeon? I feel insanely hopeless. I have let myself down so much that I can no longer see straight because of it anymore. I was walking into Panera Bread today and noticed my reflection. It was like a stranger staring back at me, only I was the stranger, and the eyes were calling for help. My body in that reflection was revolting. It was something that literally made me want to turn around from the restaurant, run, and not eat for the rest of the day. She was revolted by her own body. That is fat phobia. You saw yourself being the weight that you are, and you were revolted by the sight of yourself. That is the epitome of fat phobia, Amber. I am even lying to YouTube.
So people were calling me a liar. Definitely not a liar.
No longer am I the girl on there being honest with my actions. I have become so ashamed in hiding that I do not even know who I am anymore. Purposely trying to eat less is such a tedious chore, but it's also a blessing of sorts that can create me to come out of hiding and be an inspiration again. I want to inspire. The reason she started her YouTube to begin with, she wants to be an inspiration. Narcissist Lynn, here you are. I want to succeed. I want to smile in the mirror again for my accomplishments. I want to step on the scale and be surprised with wonder and amazement of the outcome. I want people to look at me and see positive change. I'm not saying I'm going to purely eat broccoli and plain chicken, but I am going to stop lying to myself and everyone else. Finally fall onto track instead of staying off of it. Sorry, Amberlynn, I don't think that's going to happen. And I am going to take advantage of my young body, cherish the time I have now to change the person I want to be. I will never be perfect. That is not what I aim to be. But I am a step closer to death each day I do not take action. She said it right here, folks. It's true to this day, and look at her now. Very sad. You mirror off of me a lot, copying what I do, whether it be eating healthier or some other mode of weight loss. And I want the reflection you see to be amazement, because I know you can do this. Lose this weight. Be happy in your own skin. And I want that for you so much. Knowing today that you are having such anxiety in Panera Bread all because of how you see yourself literally broke my heart. I blame myself and my eating disorder a lot on the weight gain you have had. Which, you know what? That's also true. That is not a lie, but once again, you should not be saying that in this letter. That is manipulation. I'm tired of holding so much negativity on my shoulders, and I am ready to shed that weight off, as well as physical weight. Please, babe, guide me in this however possible. Support me, because I need to be strict with myself. She needs Krystle to support her because Amber needs to be strict with herself. Make that make sense. Because by doing so, I am getting my life in shape and I am counting more days that I will be able to be alive in this world. Much love, Amberlynn. So really, it's up to Krystle to keep Amber alive. So disgusting. All right, we do have Mini Waffles the Corgi in the studio at the moment, so I figured let's take advantage of that and go take a look at her. She is just sitting there staring at me, which would be creepy if it were anyone else. But it is okay for Mini Waffles. Good catch. Good girl, Minnie. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move forward and finish up this video. You know, there were people saying, I love this Amberlynn, and she seems so nice here. Yeah, there was one person that mentioned how, you know, she continues to lie today. But it was kind of vague, and I'm not really sure exactly what lying that person was referring to. What I don't see are a lineup of comments talking about how this entire thing, the whole letter, it really had nothing to do with her weight. That in fact, it was, put simply, a manipulation tactic. But ultimately, Krystle was the target audience for this. And thankfully, she was not fooled into thinking that Amberlynn would change. Or at least, she wasn't fooled into thinking that their relationship could work. Not this time. And the thing is, I'm honestly always just so shocked when anyone, be it Amberlynn herself or any of her early Am babies, said that they were surprised when Krystle broke up with her. You know, or any of her partners, for that matter. The level of oblivion, I do realize that many, if not most, were not fooled by Amberlynn's efforts to hide the fact that, you know, they had drifted apart. That being said, I don't know, it does kind of feel like a higher percentage of her audience still had the wool pulled over their eyes by Amberlynn. But as each and every one of Amberlynn's last-ditch efforts to save the relationship failed, ultimately, there was nothing left for Krystle to do but make it official.
On April 1st, we decided to break up.
I do wonder how Krystle reacted to this letter when she first read it. I'd like to think that she saw right through it. But I also know that, you know, it took her 2.5 years to realize that she didn't want to be with Amber, and then another year after that to break up with her. But don't get me wrong, I'm not judging her for that. The first time that almost anyone deals with a narcissist, they're pretty much eventually blindsided by the reality that had been right in front of them for so long. It could be a month, it could be a year or several years. But once they see it, you can't unsee the traits. So now I do not blame Krystle for not seeing through Amberlynn sooner. In fact, that's really one of the reasons why I like to make videos like this one. To point out the traits and behaviors of people like this, so that we can then spot them if they exist in our lives. I'm sure that today, if anyone were to ever treat Krystle the same way that Amber did all those years ago, that she would spot it immediately and cut it off. But a decade ago, she was just learning how narcissists work and figuring her way out of this relationship that had kept her down for far too long. Luckily for her, she did eventually see that she needed out. You know, whether she realized why in the moment or not, I can't say. It might be something, you know, that she figured out upon reflection later in life. Whatever the case, I only hope the best for Krystle. It was a long 3.5 years. And I'm sure that she had a lot to work through. I'm actually very glad that she's managed to stay far away from Gorl World. You know, if that's what's best for her own mental health. You know, people heal in different ways. Some heal by sharing their story, and others by staying out of the spotlight. While I would love to hear everything she has to say in her side of the story, I don't actually want her, you know, testing her own boundaries. I do hope that everyone will respect her very, very clear wishes to stay out of this mess and just leave her be. And the Krystle Era, it was absolutely foundational in understanding Amberlynn. And as we, move on from Krystle here at Studio Deets, I do want to hold on to the lessons that we've learned in this era. I want to make sure to take them with us into Destiny's era. I don't know if I'm ready. One thing I do know is that I will be, keeping Amberlynn's behaviors in this time period in mind as I begin my deep dive into all the videos that she uploaded in this next adventure. As Amber removes one mask and replaces it with another, I'm going to be comparing her personas, her manipulation tactics, even the way that she interacts with her now growing audience. And what that means ultimately is that, we're not going to be leaving Krystle behind entirely. There is a very awkward time between Krystle breaking up with her and Destiny coming to pick her up. So that, my friends, is going to be the topic for our next Gorl Games. Keep an eye on my community tab for the link to that quiz because Gorl Games 9 will be Destiny calling. And that brings me to today's reminder. Today's reminder. Misery loves company, but you're not obligated to join in. Today's shout out goes to Hello It's Ready, aka Shrimpgate 2019 on Instagram. They recently shared my video from Hope to Hater, which is an unhinged poetry slam that I created from Amber's comment section. A poem about lying by one of the biggest liars? Thank you so much for the shout out because every little bit helps a small channel like this one. I've also dropped a few affiliate links in the description since I still keep getting questions about the setup that I have here in the studio. All right, I'll leave a couple videos on screen if you'd like to continue watching, and otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
It's kind of pathetic.